Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for pushing play on today's episode and joining me today. Today, I want to make a distinction with you. I have been thinking about the phrases finding joy and you make me happy, or that made me happy, or whatever variation of being made happy you fits the context, right? Versus finding joy. And that is so interesting to me. And the reason I was thinking about this is because I've got this plant. I don't actually know what it is. A neighbor gave it to me right before she moved. And it is thriving. Now, I don't really have a green thumb. Things end up dying that don't beg for food in this house. If they beg for food, hence the dog, the children, they get fed, they live, they thrive. It's fine. Plants don't tend to beg, so plants tend to die. This plant has been on my counter for months, probably 6 months now, and it is thriving. It is the happiest, greenest plant you've ever seen. It is so darn happy. And I was looking at this plant and I was like really loving it. And I was telling Jake, I was like, this plant makes me happy. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm glad. And he's just like, whatever. But I was looking at this plant and realizing that yes, this plant was making me happy because it was so happy, but I was allowing myself to find joy that this plant, this silly little plant, was thriving. I allowed myself to slow down enough to find joy in that. Now, sometimes we think, kid, it would make me really happy if you would just pick up your towel and hang it up in the bathroom. Kid, it would make me really happy if you would put your shoes away. Kid, it would make me really happy if you would just eat your dinner. And these are these like external things, right? Do this, I'll be happy. But the thing is, the happiness is in our control no matter what. My kid could leave her towel on the floor of her bedroom, and I can still choose to be happy. Her hanging up her towel helps, kind of, but not really. I'm saying that to like motivate her. Hey, don't you want to make me happy? Why don't you do this? But sometimes she doesn't care, and that's fine. But we say these things like that makes me happy, or that would make me happy, to kind of encourage the behavior of others sometimes, particularly the children. But the happiness is always in our control. And sometimes we don't acknowledge that until we find joy, just to use the other phrase. We can still find happiness, right? But sometimes we feel like we stumble upon it. I've got this very cool experience. I live in Utah, and in the wintertime, there are these flocks of European starlings that they are thousands of birds. And they create such an incredible movement in the sky. The way that they fly and flock together, and the 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 way that they layer on each other. Go look up a YouTube video on European starling flocks, and you will see that they create this beautiful rhythm and incredible movement in the sky. And it looks like ripples and waves based on how many, the depth of the flock in certain areas, how many birds come together to create this depth. It is so fun, so interesting. Every time I see these birds, without fail, my heart lifts, and I want to stop. Usually I'm driving. I want to just stop and stare at these birds because it is so cool. It's so cool. And I enjoy that sight every single time without fail. Now, I could say these birds make me happy, but really, I am choosing to be aware enough to find the joy in how cool that experience is. That's really what it is. I'm allowing myself to find that joy. Being made happy, that phrase is so temporary. It's so based on external stimuli. It's like if I get what I want for dinner, if my kid picks up her towel, if I whatever, it is based on other things. It's based on the environment, the people around you, doing what you want them to do, and then supposedly you're happy. The thing is if my kid were to put her towel away and I was having a crap day, that isn't going to make a difference. For truths. I don't need, sorry about that. Honestly, truthfully, if I am already in a bad mood, it doesn't matter what the kids do. It doesn't matter if they eat their dinner. It doesn't matter if they hang up their towel. It doesn't matter if they put their shoes away. I'm still in a bad mood because I've decided that I was in a bad mood and I'm letting myself sit in that. However, you can choose the opposite, right? You can choose, I'm going to be happy or find joy in this situation, regardless, no matter what. Doesn't matter if you put your boots away. It doesn't matter if you hang up your towel. It doesn't matter if you eat your dinner. I don't care. Not that I don't care. That seems a little harsh. But that has no impact on my happiness level. So this is something I've been really thinking about. And as I was looking at this plant, all of these thoughts were coming to me. The European Starlings, the fact that I can look at them and it's like, it's an instant lift. But I'm choosing that. I am choosing to be amazed by their flock patterns. I don't know what you call these things, okay? I'm not a birder. But I am choosing that I get to be amazed by them. And this little plant that is really becoming quite a big plant, I am allowing that silly thing to impact my mood as well for the benefit, for the positive, right? And at the same time, I can choose to see boots on the floor or the towel on the floor, and I can choose for that to impact how I'm feeling. I can choose for that to make a negative impact. So each one of these are choices, and sometimes we forget that they're choices. That we're like, oh, I'm just happy today, or oh, I'm just in a bad mood today, or oh, whatever. But they are choices. And isn't that powerful? Because at any time, really, literally, truly, 100%, anytime, you can make a different choice. Not saying it's easy. 100%, it is not easy all of the time. You can't just go from a terrible mood to being the most bubbly, outrageous person ever from 0 to 60, right? We are human. We get to have this human experience with these emotions, and we can choose to feel a little bit better. I have very recently been very diligent with this. I am choosing my emotions. And okay, right now I am super frustrated. Like I am going to, okay, not right now, physically right now. I'm giving you an example. But being super frustrated, right? I can't go from super frustrated to way enthusiastic. That's too big of a jump. It's too big. I can't do it. But maybe I can try on going super frustrated to I am going to just neutralize out a little bit. I'm releasing the frustration. I'm going to let this go. And then I'm just going to feel kind of neutral. I'm not happy with you or with whatever. And I'm not angry, like blow my mind angry, right? So finding something that feels just a little bit better. And then actively choosing to notice, look for, find the things in your environment that contribute to how you want to feel. Often I turn to my journal for this. And by often, I mean nearly every time, because I will journal out all the negative. I'm like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, okay, but here's how I want to feel. And here are all the things in my life that support how I want to feel. Usually I go for gratitude. Gratitude's really my go-to because it's one of the easiest emotions for me to access. I'm such a grateful person. This is just so part of my core that gratitude is just, it's the easiest emotion for me to access. So whatever the easiest emotion is for you to access, make that your go-to. And maybe if you're like, well, my easiest emotion is frustration or anger or whatever, something negative, I would invite you to see things a little bit differently. I would invite you to see, okay, well, if there was a positive emotion that was the easiest for me to access, what would it be? And start asking yourself some questions. What's the easiest thing for me to feel? Is it contentment? Is it acceptance? Is it, I don't know, you think about it. So for me, it's gratitude. So I'll often I'll journal out all this negativity, and then I will choose gratitude. And sometimes I'll be able to journal on things that I'm grateful that are a direct relationship to whatever it is that I just expressed all this negativity about. And sometimes the gratitude is about totally different things. So, if I had this frustration with Jake, I can easily go in and journal on the gratitude, the things that I'm grateful for that he does, or that the way he treats me, or the things in our life, blah, blah. That's really easy. Sometimes, a friend will do something and I will be really frustrated or upset or whatever. And I can't get into the headspace of being grateful for anything about that situation at the moment. And so I'll go for gratitude of other things in my life. I'm really grateful, whatever it is, and just go on this gratitude rampage. And that will help me change my emotions. And sure, like I said, I'm not going from super upset or frustrated or angry to super happy and enthusiastic, bubbly Megan. I'm going for better. I feel better than I did. I feel we've improved. We've made an improvement. And then from that improvement, if you're not satisfied with that, then continue to improve it. Okay, well, after I feel gratitude, what's the next emotion I want to access? What else do I want to feel into? Maybe I do need to get myself into this energetic, enthusiastic state. Maybe something happened and I have to record a podcast. So I do need to go from 0 to at least 45. How do I get there? Well, I'm still working in my journal. I'm still be like, okay, well, I need to be enthusiastic. So what can I be enthusiastic about right now? And I go on that rampage of like all these things that I'm really enthusiastic about. I'm really enthusiastic about this project that I'm working on. I'm really enthusiastic about this trip that we're going on. And my cousin invited me to go on a trip and I'm really enthusiastic about that. And all of these things are like, okay, all right, we got there. We got there. We went from, I'm super mad about this to, all right, I'm feeling grateful for it. I'm glad that happened because blah, blah. To, man, things are good. Things are really good. I'm really excited now. Now I can record my podcast because I've gotten myself to where I needed to be. This didn't actually happen today. Sometimes it happens that day that I record and I'm just like, this is my day to record. So we got to figure it out. Sometimes we allow ourselves to sit in the negativity because we don't have something that's like, you got to figure this out because you can't behave this way. Sometimes we don't have that pressure. Sometimes we do and we behave poorly anyway. That's part of it. That's also part of the human experience, right? This is such a process. None of this is easy if you aren't practiced at it, if you don't do it all the time. This is such a practice. And like I said, this is something that I've been very diligent about the last few months, very aware of my emotions, very aware of my energy, and very deliberate about choosing to feel how I want to feel. This isn't something that they teach you in school. This isn't something that they teach you unless you're looking for it. You have to go look for it. So I know you weren't looking for it here, but I'm giving it to you anyway because this is a life skill. This is truly a life skill that we are not taught, that it's just like, okay, you're a human, you're an adult, you have emotions, you get to figure out how to manage them and choose what you want. Good luck. It's not helpful. So we fumble around, right? We fumble around and we're like, I'm angry and it's going to take me 3 days to reset. I have lived that experience. I truly, truly have. I have had experiences where something happens or whatever and I am knocked off for 3 days. 3 days straight. I can't get it under control. I have had that experience. Now I'm knocked off for about 30 minutes because I have practiced for so long, because I've been diligent about it. Because it's not just I reframe this and I reset. Sometimes it's I feel like crap, I am really upset, I am really frustrated, I am really triggered, and I don't want to feel this way, so I'm going to solve it right now. If you didn't listen to my episode with Dr. AC, go listen to my episode with Dr. AC. And AC is spelled ASAY. Dr. AC is my energy guy, and he has really helped me get a handle on all of this. He has really helped me figure out how to release what I'm feeling and choose differently, choose again, and then go forward with my chosen emotion, go forward with my chosen energy. And he talks about this too in the podcast, where we can choose to ask ourselves whether what we are feeling is serving us. And if it is not, we can choose to let that go. Again, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's doable. I'm saying you can do this. And you can choose whatever emotion you want. You can choose whatever you feel like will serve you in whatever your experience is. So oftentimes, my chosen emotion, and by oftentimes I mean all the time, my chosen emotion when I go to record the podcast is enthusiasm. I'm excited. I'm excited to record. I'm excited that you're listening to my content. I'm excited about all of it. That's my chosen emotion to record the podcast. This is not my chosen emotion for dinner time, right? Like, that is way too much for dinner. That is way too much expended energy. So it depends on what situation you are going into, and you can adjust accordingly. Now, obviously, we can do this automatically all the time, but sometimes something happens or we're triggered or whatever it is, and we've got to get out of that place and into a different place, or we want to. Really, you have to want to. If you want to sit in the negativity, then there's no helping you. That's what you get to do. If you want something different, then you get to choose something different. I just realized we started this podcast on being made happy versus finding joy. That's what I started this whole tirade on. And it morphed, didn't it? If you've listened to this whole thing, this thing evolved. And that's one of the things I love about this work so much. To be honest, I love recording this podcast because for me, on the inside, it is so driven by what I feel called, compelled, inspired, whatever word doesn't make you vomit, about what to talk about what to share, about what should come out of my mouth. And then I just trust that whatever I say reaches whoever is meant to hear it whenever they are meant to hear it. This podcast, to me, feels like magic. It's incredible. And I love that. So I love that this evolved. I love that it morphed, like real time, you and me together. I had what I wanted to talk about and it turned into something else. So that's really fun. But that's what I've got for you today. We've got what I said and more. If you don't know what I'm talking about with these European starlings, go look it up. It is so, so cool. One of the joys of my winter. I dislike winter. Truly, I do. I hate being cold. It is one of the things I hate the most. European starlings. So, so cool. I love it. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to my email newsletter, do that. And then I will pop up in your inbox every Wednesday with goodness for you. I love you. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time. Bye for now.